So the lights are about to go out now, and they are out here in Malaysia for the Malaysian Grand Prix. So Ricardo is really pulling away. We've got Hamilton behind us at the moment, who is on a charge, who's just overtaken our teammate Fernando Alonso. We actually make a move up the inside of Valtteri Bottas there. A very nice move up the inside of the Williams driver. You can see on the replay here. A beautiful move up the inside. And I think that's Alonso who's going out the pits there. And Alonso has jumped both of us here by doing the overcut. As you can see, we should get a glimpse of our fuel situation there. We are currently -1 lap down, so we're going to have to do some fuel saving throughout this final stint. Magnussen really feisty in this Grand Prix, going around the outside once again, or trying to at least. We cannot save fuel throughout this final stint whilst Magnussen is hassling us. Freddie's going to go up the inside. He outbrakes, but he locks up. He forces Magnussen off the track. And wow, that was a very aggressive move from Freddie there. I'll be surprised if he doesn't get a penalty for that. We're going to see in a second. In fact, we haven't got a penalty. Okay, what has just happened? Things have clearly kicked off, and we're going to have to save going around the final corner here. I think we've got Hulkenberg just behind us now, including a Williams as well. We're going to put him down into leaders, but in fact, we are already chugging across the line. Hulkenberg might actually take us here, and we just about defend that position, and what a crazy end. Hey guys, what is up? It is StockMatt1998 here, and I am back with a brand new video. This is part 22 of my F1 2014 career mode series, and here we are today for the Bahrain Grand Prix at the Bahrain International Circuit in Sakhir. And obviously in last season's Grand Prix, Freddie just showed some pretty good pace around this track. However, his race was ruined on lap 1 by an incident with Adrian Sutil. Basically what happened was Sutil squeezed Freddie into the bus, and that caused Freddie to half spin, and that basically ruined his race from there. He did make good progress up the field, however, but it was only good enough for P15, mainly because the AI were far too good, or they were way too consistent with their lap times, and unfortunately the tyre wear prevented Freddie from getting any further up through the field. And obviously at that point in the season, the Force India was not too good at looking after its tyres, and that was something that we need to improve on. That race sort of signalled that, to be honest with you. And obviously that was the point as well, where Hulkenberg was just outperforming us, really was so much quicker than ourselves. But in terms of this weekend, I think Freddie is looking quite strong. He was fast in the practice session by just over half a second back to Lewis Hamilton. Now we're into Q1 on the prime tyres. I think the Ferrari is really now good enough to get through Q1 and even possibly Q2 on the prime tyres. As you can see, they were 9 tenths quicker than Maldonado's Sector 2 split time. And we're going to overtake Ericsson there around the outside. He did try his best to hold us up, as Marcus Ericsson normally does. But anyway, we're going to come across the line to set a 1 minute 35.861. That's good enough for 8th place. Now we skip on into Q2. We left it quite late to set our times actually. That was kind of a risky call because as you can see, we currently set a time, but it's only good enough for P14. So we've got to go around and set another time, and that's what we've done. Because on our last lap, we did make quite a few mistakes, and I believe there was some traffic as well for Freddie to conquer, but he conquered that well. And he's about to breeze past one of his rivals this weekend, Lewis Hamilton. Obviously, we'll be battling him once again for pole position and the race win, hopefully. However, we're not even in the pole position shootout yet, because we haven't even got into Q3, but we're about to come across the line now. Opening up DRS set a 1 minute 34.5. That's good enough for 7th. Now into Q3, and I think this session will be very difficult, because the AI definitely do step up their pace as you go through each session. As you can see, Alonso's time is not actually that quick there, 1 minute 34.1, but I do believe the AI were running on quite heavy fuel loads at this point in the session. We're going to come across the line now, and we have actually gone fast on a 33.9, and will we maintain this? That is the question now, with a couple of minutes left, and it looks like the AI have actually gone out again on a lower fuel load, and it seems as if we've now dropped to 5th place, so not great, to be honest with you. We should have maybe set another time just to make sure of that pole position, but however, I wouldn't say 5th place was a bad starting position at all. In terms of the strategy today, we're going to do 2 option stints at the beginning of the Grand Prix, where we can hopefully overtake and pull away from the Mercs, the Red Bulls, and Fernando Alonso. And then the prime stint at the end, we're going to have to do quite a lot of defending in order to keep the guys, or in order to keep the Mercs, the Red Bulls, and Alonso behind us, of course. But anyway, guys, I'm expecting an exciting Bahrain Grand Prix today. Let's go.
Echoes of your words crashing into me. Drown me in your lies, and there's no way to breathe. And my walls will keep you down. I am safe without the sound of you.
Here we are now on the grid in 5th place for the Bahrain Grand Prix. It's going to be a good one today, guys. That is what I'm predicting. As the lights are about to go out, there are illuminated by the drivers now, and they are out. And away we go here for the Bahrain Grand Prix. We've gotten off to an absolutely storming start already. Vettel has gotten off to a really poor start, as has Nico Rosberg. We're going to go to the outside here of turn 1 to try and overtake Nico Rosberg around the outside possibly. And we've had an absolutely storming start once again. As I've said many times before, Freddie's really good at handling the pressure of starts. We've actually overtaken Fernando Alonso as well, our teammate. So a perfect start there, up in 2nd position already. Now we've got to try and overtake Hamilton and pull away from him whilst the tyres are still with us, because that's the problem we've been having recently, especially in Malaysia. We sort of let Vettel stay ahead of us during that Grand Prix, and then he pulled away from us once the tyres sort of started to wear away. But as you can see, skipping to the end of lap 1, beginning of lap 2 now, hopefully we can try and get a straight line speed advantage on the Mercedes. It's going to be very difficult because the Mercedes do have one of the best cars in a straight line. But anyway, going down to turn 1 now, we do have Hamilton within striking distance. We're going to go up the inside of Lewis Hamilton here, and we are in the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix now, guys. That is just what we wanted. An absolutely perfect start from Freddie Gray. Fantastic stuff here at the Bahrain Grand Prix, and we did pull away, but however, the tyre wear did kick in, and now we got Alonso and Vettel right behind us now in the Bahrain Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton, however, did sort of drop off, but Alonso and Vettel were very quick, especially our teammate Fernando Alonso, really hungry for the race win today, and I think he'll be the guy who we're going to be battling with today. It's going to be a Ferrari versus Ferrari battle. Hopefully there'll be no team orders put in place for this Grand Prix. But anyway, now we've got Alonso who's going to go up the inside of us here. He's actually... Oh, that was a bit awkward there from Alonso, sort of moving over on us, and we had to brake on the curb there, and that caused the lock-up, and now we lost position to Sebastian Vettel. And we were actually lucky not to with our front wing there, guys, because I haven't mentioned it to you, but I am running the realistic damage mod during this Grand Prix. I was running the realistic damage mod on the medium setting, and even a small impact like that could result in you losing a bit of your front wing. But anyway, we're going to try and overtake Sebastian Vettel, re-overtake him, but he gets to pre-traction out of the corner, and that is a clear indication that we have to come into the pits to fit on the option tyres for the second time in this Grand Prix. And it does seem as if it's going to be quite a busy pit lane with lots of other cars coming in behind Lewis Hamilton. I think there was a McLaren and a Williams there. And as you can see, they're just going to pass now along with Vettel and along with Lewis Hamilton. So Lewis Hamilton has jumped us because we've been held in our pit box for too long. There's really nothing our mechanics could have done there any differently to have got us ahead of Lewis Hamilton. It was just unlucky, really, unfortunate timing. But anyway, what we've got to do now, we've got to get past these prime time runners like Hamilton and Vettel as quickly as possible, because the trouble is, guys, if we want to win this Grand Prix, we're going to have to get past these guys whilst we have the upper hand and whilst we're on the faster tyres with more grip. But as you can see, we have just rejoined ahead of the Toro Rosso of Daniel Kvyat, who hasn't pitted yet, but now skipping a little bit later on. We've got Lewis Hamilton just ahead of us now. We're going to overtake up the inside, and that is just what we need to do. That's just what we need to do there, and we have overtaken him, just cutting him off there. As you can see it on the replay, a beautiful move up the inside of that corner and squeezing him out there just to make it even more sweet, to be honest with you. And a couple of corners later, we have already caught up with Sebastian Vettel, and this has been an incredibly productive outlap, overtaking Lewis Hamilton, and now we're on the back of Sebastian Vettel already, and we could even go around the outside of him here. Wow! What a fantastic move there from Freddie Gray. Fantastic stuff here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. We're going to overtake him around the outside, and that is exactly what we've done. Fantastic move there. That is just what we needed to do. And now we've got Alonso, who I believe is exiting the pits now, and there he is. You can see him on the minimap there, already going through turn 1, so he is ahead of us. So obviously that battling did cost us even more time to our teammate Fernando Alonso, so we've got to try and catch him up as soon as possible. And I can tell you guys now, on lap 15, we did catch up with Alonso, and we did pull away from Sebastian Vettel. Obviously that's a given, because we do have faster tyres than Vettel at the moment. And I think the only thing that could really stop Alonso is possibly being held up by some back markers, because Alonso's pace once again appears to be too consistent for us. So that is unfortunate. And now skipping us lap 17, this is the lap we're due in for our second scheduled stop of the day. And to be honest, guys, the middle stint was quite quiet, sort of like Malaysia, really. I think this race sort of had a similar pattern to Malaysia in terms of the action, as you're about to see. Now into the pits now on lap 17. Well, I think we are the first to pit, and I believe there are a couple of other guys coming in as well. I believe that's Massa and Ricardo as well, actually, who are doing exactly the same strategy as us, and hopefully we won't get held up by them. No, we don't. We rejoined just ahead of Felipe Massa there. That would have been really unfortunate if we were to be held up by him, and that would pretty much end any chance of us taking the Grand Prix win for Fernando Alonso. And I think the option tyre runners are due in on lap 20 or lap 21. I'm not entirely sure. But as you can see, we've got Hulkenberg just behind us now, actually, and we're not going to... I think we are going to stay ahead of Hulkenberg, so that was absolutely crucial, because you don't want to have Hulkenberg to conquer, really. And now, skipping on to lap 19, we do have Fernando Alonso, who's just rejoined the track, and we have actually closed the gap to him a little bit. It's still sort of the same as it was before we pitted, but now Fernando Alonso has traffic ahead of him, so that gives us an opportunity to catch up with him. We've got to take this opportunity incredibly well here. We can't really waste this, and we've got Jensen Button just ahead of us now on lap 20. I believe he is due into the pits this lap or next lap. And look on the minimap there, Alonso's being held up by 2 cars who are yet to pit, and that is a brilliant overtake there on Jensen Button up the inside. Fantastic stuff there. But now on lap 20, now going through this next corner, as you can see, we've actually got a front wing there that's gone off. That looks like a Red Bull front wing, so that must be. I can only assume that would be Sebastian Vettel's. Ricardo has already pitted, so Sebastian Vettel must have had some sort of incident there. There does seem to be quite a lot of action going on ahead with the 2 back markers. But Vettel does seem as if he lost his front wing. Obviously, he's doing the opposite strategy to ourselves. He's going on the option tyres in this final stint, but this was the lap he was due into the pits anyway. We've actually got another front wing off there. You can just see at the final corner there. And more action happening here. Perez moves out the way for us. And who's that in the pit lane? That is Fernando Alonso in the pit lane. And we are effectively in the lead of this Grand Prix now. Fernando Alonso, I'm not sure what happened to him. He must have collided with somebody, surely. One of the backmarkers, possibly Bianchi or Sergio Perez. Or maybe he and Vettel collided. I don't know. I can only assume that he didn't, because Vettel and Alonso lost their front wings at different parts of the track. But now we are effectively in the lead. And Lewis Hamilton's our nearest challenger, I believe, who is, I think he's a few seconds behind us at the moment, as Magnussen and Button did go into the pits a couple of laps ago. And Hamilton is 2.4 seconds behind us here. So, obviously, he's on the option tyres in this final stint, so he will catch us up at a really fast rate here. And basically, the end of this Grand Prix will all be about the battle between Freddie and Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton actually has got the straight line speed limit here with the DRS. He's going to go up the inside, going to pull off a similar move to what Alonso did earlier on in the Grand Prix, forcing us off the track ever so slightly there, forcing us onto the curb. And Hamilton's actually going to try and hang it around the outside, but no, he doesn't. Freddie does very well there to hold his ground and go up the inside and maintain first position here. And now we've got the tricky task of keeping Lewis Hamilton behind us in the Mercedes. Obviously, the Mercedes is a much quicker car than the Ferrari and has better straight line speed and just general cornering grip, to be honest with you. Now we caught up to Marcus Ericsson, who just parks his car on the racing line there, trying to hold us up as much as possible. But look at this, guys. He's actually helping us once. He's holding up Lewis Hamilton, and now Lewis Hamilton's dropped back by about a second. But I can tell you guys, knowing Lewis Hamilton, it will not take him long to catch back up. Once again, as you can see on lap 27, he's caught right back up to us here. And our tyres are pretty much gone. Once again, the tyre wear really did not help us throughout this final stint. And Lewis Hamilton's got brilliant traction out of that corner. Now he's got the DRS, and he's going to try and go up the inside here. And no, he doesn't. He backs out. You really wouldn't expect Lewis Hamilton to back out there. I don't know why he backed out. That's probably the difference between winning the Grand Prix and coming second. And that was, I don't know what that was from Lewis Hamilton. I don't know why he decided to back out there, but he's got another opportunity here on lap 28. Lewis Hamilton's going to, he has the straight line of speed, has the DRS, he's going to go up the inside here. Is he going to go for it? No, he doesn't. Lewis Hamilton backs out once again, but Freddie handling the pressure extremely well once again. And Ricardo's nowhere near us, so he won't be a challenger today. And even though we're battling, Ricardo will not catch up as the gap's just too big behind us. But now, one final opportunity here on the final lap. Lap 29, we get a pretty poor run through there. Now Lewis Hamilton going to get the best traction out of the corner. He's got DRS here. He could actually go up the inside. We might even go to the outside to defend. We decide to go to the inside. Now Lewis Hamilton's going to go up the inside here. No, he doesn't. He backs out. Once again, tried his absolute hardest to go for it that time. But it does look like, guys, that we will win the Bahrain Grand Prix unless Lewis Hamilton can mount a serious charge going into the final corner. We're going to try and get a beautiful exit out of this corner here. In fact, we've run wide ever so slightly, and now Hamilton, with a much better exit, will be gaining on us here. So we've got to watch out for Lewis Hamilton going down to the final corner. Now, he's got the straight line speed. Obviously, with that Mercedes power unit that he has brilliant straight line speed. But however, we have kept the position going into the final corner now. It looks like we're going to come across the line to take our first win of the season at the Bahrain Grand Prix. What an absolutely epic Grand Prix there, guys. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Wow, I've kind of lost my breath from that Grand Prix. That was fantastic. Winning the Grand Prix by only 3 tenths of a second back to Lewis Hamilton. Alonso finished in 6th in the end. And fair play to Valtteri Bottas for getting a fantastic result for Williams by finishing in 4th. And that's put us right back in contention now for the Drivers' Championship. They must have done. Obviously, as you can see there, Jensen Button finishing in 10th. Vettel down all the way down in 8th in the end after losing his front wing. And I can tell you guys that the championship leader going into the Bahrain Grand Prix was Nico Rosberg, and he actually retired from today's Grand Prix. So that's going to mix things up completely in the Drivers' Championship. As you can see, we are currently in 4th, only 16 points behind Hamilton, so we are right back in the fight. Ricciardo currently in 2nd, and the new lead Lewis Hamilton after finishing just behind us in 2nd. So Alonso all the way down there in 9th, has some really bad luck this season. 2 braking issues in Australia and Malaysia. Then obviously the front wing lost today. Not really sure if that was his fault or not. But anyway, guys, it was an absolutely epic Grand Prix today. If we can get this video to 20 likes once again, that would be so appreciated. I honestly can't describe how much I'd appreciate that. But anyway, guys, if you have enjoyed this video, be sure to give a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.